Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Huebert and today I'm going to be building my first Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl competitive team. This is the team that I'm going to build in-game first and be playing with on the ladder. I'm actually really excited to dive into a new metagame. Sword and Shield has gone on for a very long time, and while they have changed the series and the rules a little bit, it still feels a little stale, and particularly with the addition of things like Dynamax, Psychic Terrain, and things like that, the metagame is going to look very differently in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl compared to Sword and Shield. So, I'm going to start myself off. One of my favorite Pokemon to use in VGC of all time is Murkrow, and unfortunately Eviolite is not available, so we will be running a Focus Sash Murkrow with Prankster. And I'm thinking we'll go Foul Play, Quash, Tailwind, and Protect to start out with max speed, max attack, or max HP. And we'll do this. We're putting 4 into special defense instead of defense. Not terribly relevant since Eviolite isn't in the game, but it's primarily for Porygon 2, so it doesn't get the special attack download boost. And we're going to go Timid. And the other Pokemon that I want on my base is Mamoswine, because Mamoswine now has Oblivious, which makes him immune to Intimidate, and allows him, so I'm not quite sure what item I want to run on him yet, but I'm thinking Icicle Crash, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. And this just allows us to freely Earthquake and Tailwind in the same turn and do a lot of damage and ignore Intimidate and have some sweeping power. We also have Quash, and it allows us to go for Foul Plays as well to follow up and do a lot of damage. So I'm not sure on the item, maybe I'll go Life Orb or something, I'm not sure. And then specifically to deal with things like Regigigas, I would like to have something with Fake Out that can put pressure, like offensive pressure. So Blastoise is actually kind of compelling. Because I could go for Fake Out, Tailwind, and then Water Spout, or I could just go for Tailwind, Water Spout, and do a lot of damage, so that's actually super interesting. I'm just going to turn this on so it's checking the highest base stats. So Infernape is another one that's kind of interesting because like a Life Orb close combat, I feel like definitely would KO a Regigigas, and that's pretty nice. We don't necessarily have to OHKO it though, since we will have access to Foul Play. Regigigas or Slacking, either one of them, or whatever else we might go into. So Infernape and Blastoise are definitely, I'm leaning more towards Blastoise myself. Let's see, Ambipom, not really. Hitmontop is a little slow and its power is a little low. And that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot of Fake Out users, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to go with Blastoise for now. Probably Torrent is fine. I'm not sure about the item. We'll probably go Water Spout. Maybe even Shell Smash, Fake Out, Protect. We can just slot that on right now, and we can mess around with it a little bit later. Okay, so we're gonna start with this as our base, and see what we need. So the threats in this, like, there's no terrain, and there's a lot of limits, right? So Fake Out is definitely going to be something that needs to be addressed, seeing as there is no Psychic Terrain, and there's nothing like Serena or what's that fish's name? The Psychic Water Fish from Gen 7 that has Dazzling. Bruxish. No Bruxish. So there's really no way of blocking Fake Out other than faking them out first, having an ability like Inner Focus which prevents you from being flinched, or Protecting. And in this case, more than likely, we're going to be running Protect on everything because Fake Out is such a problem. So Fake Out, I think we'll be alright with the way that this is set up, seeing it, like, if we didn't have Protect on Murkrow, then we would have issues, but since we do have Protect, the only thing we have to worry about with Fake Out is paired with something like Trick Room, or paired with something like Tailwind to a certain extent, but against Tailwind, we do have Quash, which is beautiful. We also have that against Trick Room, so we have a little bit of an out there. With Status, we're mainly going to be concerned about things like Spore from Breloom or maybe Parasect, Sleep Powder from something like Venusaur alongside a Weather Setter like Torkoal, maybe Prankster Thunderwave. Actually, what kind of Prankster users? Is there anyone that learns Prankster Thunderwave? Okay, so there are 3, and Murkrow is actually one of them. Okay. with Volbeat and Illumise. Illumise definitely looks like the better of the two. Okay. I wouldn't expect it too much though. I'd expect Nuzzle more than Prankster Thunderwave. So like Raichu, Pachirisu. Yeah, Raichu, Pachirisu. And Pachirisu has Follow Me, so that's definitely something to watch out for. However, Mamoswine should take care of both of those fairly well. We just need to protect. We also have to watch out for Fake Out plus boosting, as well as redirection, like Follow Me or Rage Powder plus boosting. And redirection is a serious issue. We do have Earthquake and Rock Slide, which is going to help, and we have Water Spout, which is going to have great coverage as well. So let's just take a look at Rage Powder users that are available. I actually didn't know Carnivine got Rage Powder. That's kind of cool. I might have to... His speed is 46. I'll put that on the watch list. Maybe I'll play around with that at some point. Tangrowth, Tangela. There's no Eviolite, so we're basically looking at a Focus Sash Butterfree, a Focus Sash Parasect, or like a Tangrowth for Rage Powder. As far as Follow Me, again, there is no Eviolite, so Clefairy is going to have less value. It's probably going to be a Focus Sash Clefairy if they get used. You do have Prankster Riolu. You don't get coaching, do you? Yeah, and you can't Max Guard Copycat, so Riolu doesn't really have a whole lot to do, does he? Something cool, they do, the Lucario line does get Follow Me now, which is going to play into another team that I plan on building. There's something really cool you can do with Choice Scarf Lucario. Yeah, so really not much value on Riolu either. So really, you're going to see Clefairy is going to get used. Togekiss is definitely going to be popular, so definitely going to watch out for that. I don't think Lucario will get used for Follow Me by most people, but they're sleeping on it and it's really good. Clefable might get some use, but most people that would want Clefable would just go Togekiss. Ferret, probably not. Pachirisu will get some use. Okay. But mainly we're going to be looking out for Togekiss, Pachirisu, and maybe a Focus Sash Clefairy. And for the Clefairy and the Pachirisu, we can just Earthquake as long as the target can be hit by that. If it can't be hit by Earthquake, we always have a Rock Slide. And then Icicle Crash. We might pick Icicle Spear instead. Like, it's a little unfortunate that's like a damage roll, but technically it can do more damage. It can kill through Focus Sash, and it has 100% accuracy. So actually, I am gonna change that. I mean, it's a base, like it hits twice 100% of the time, so it's at least getting guaranteed 50 damage on. So I will take that, honestly. Okay, so what about Intimidate? Intimidate, we have a special attacker and we have Oblivious Mamoswine. This is our anti-Intimidate lead. We can actually take a look at some of the Pokemon that are being used. Actually, hold on. Let's go back here. No, back here. And let's just take a look at the Intimidate users that are available. And just base stats. So Salamence, Mamoswine beats the crap out of that. Arcanine, no problem. Gyarados, we have Rock Slide and Foul Play, which should be enough to get the KO. Not to mention Flinch Chance. Luxray, no thanks. Tauros, I don't expect to see this. And we have a fairly neutral matchup against that. Hitmontop. Hitmontop is probably the scariest out of them, so I might want to have something specifically for Hitmontop, seeing as it can OHKO our Mamoswine, and Murkrow is not going to be doing much to it with Foul Play. And that's pretty much it. So for the most part, I think we're okay, barring certain circumstances, but I feel pretty confident against Intimidate with the current setup that we have. What do we want for our Blastoise item? Like, we have the Shell Smash capability. We have Fake Out to counter opposing Fake Out or counter Regigigas. I'm not sure yet. Boosting. So, like, Fake Out or Follow Me plus boosting is probably the scariest thing for me. We do have Quash at our disposal, of course, so if we can do enough damage, then we don't have to worry about it too much. But something like a Swords Dance, a Quiver Dance, Curse, something like that. We could run like Priority Haze, which could be really fun on Murkrow. I don't think I want to give up any of the moves on it, though. We need a damage move. Tailwind's really good, and Quash gives us so much utility against opposing speed control based teams. So that way we don't necessarily have to be the fastest. Like on Mamoswine, I'm probably just going to be running that for speed and then dumping everything else in attack, and then probably getting like some defense and special defense. So we're probably going to do something like that. Or actually probably just this. Probably just that, honestly. And then I'm not sure about Blastoise. We could run something like Leftovers, Citrus Berry. Like Citrus Berry is probably the most compelling answer, although we could just go for Mystic Water and just have that sweeping potential. Just go Modest, and maybe we can go. We like the one thing we could look at is like how how fast we need to be to outspeed other fake out users. So we could take a look at that. But we need max special attack because we want as much sweeping power as we can. And then after that, we pretty much just want bulk, probably special bulk. And we want defense or special defense, not HP, because we don't want to be we want to have as little missing percent health as possible, right? Okay, so that's what we're gonna start out with. There's no like Misty Terrain. I mean, no one learns Psychic Terrain. Whoops, not Misty Explosion. I mean, I probably wouldn't want. Okay, they can learn Misty Terrain. There's a handful. Okay, not particularly great options, but that's not really the answer I'm looking for. I don't think Safety Goggles is an item in this. Is it? We can like Lumberry. Yeah, Safety Goggles is illegal. It's not available. So probably like a Lumberry. In fact, that might be my item choice on Mamoswine. Something else that we have to look out for. What is my answer for Sun? Because if they lead Torkoal Venusaur, and like I could like super invest in speed, but I believe Mamoswine speed ties Venusaur. So I mean, I could go for like a Quash and go for a Icicle Spear and KO Venusaur, but then I get erupted on by Torkoal. I could go for a Quash and go for an EQ, which would probably knock out Torkoal, but then Venusaur is going to live. That's probably the best case scenario. I mean, it's not a bad trade, honestly. And if we're really worried, we could go Rindo, or we could go... what's the fire one? Not Copa. I do not remember what the fire berry is all of a sudden. I'll know it when I see it. Akaberry, yeah. So we could go Rindo or Akaberry to reduce grass or fire type moves if we're particularly worried about the Sun matchup. Okay. Let's take a look at the Pokemon that are common. So Cresselia, we don't have Taunt on our Murkrow, and we will not be able to KO Cresselia with the Pokemon that we have. So this is definitely going to be a calc that we'll want to know, not only for Trick Room, but also for Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, whatever else Cresselia. Looks like maybe it doesn't learn Icy Wind anymore. Garchomp. Garchomp is going to be a staple of this format because it is just so good. And yeah, Protect, Sword Dance, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Rock Slide. Yeah, terrifying. And it's going to be combined with Togekiss, most likely a lot. Follow Me, Dazzling Gleam, Protect, Air Slash. That's going to be the common set. Some people are still hanging on to their yawns, but without Dynamax, this has got a lot less value. I mean, it's still good, but not necessarily on Togekiss. Tyranitar. The Iron Defense kind of surprises me. Rock Slide, Crunch, Protect. I would probably go for like Dragon Dance, Taunt, yeah, over Iron Defense. Iron Defense is a strange choice. But, so Tyranitar. Garchomp, I mean, obviously we have Mamoswine, which is going to be good against both Garchomp and Togekiss with Ice coverage, and then Max, like Earthquake is going to do a lot of damage to Tyranitar. However, probably not going to be KOing it, as Tyranitar is pretty bulky unless, like, we can do a quick calculation, right? We can go over the damage calculator. Pikalytic's great resource. Very convenient. Oh, it already has Tyranitar there. Okay, cool. So we'll just do this one. Mamoswine, blank set. Get rid of all these ads. Close that. Okay, so let's see how much Adamant Earthquake does to Tyranitar. And let's assume it's max HP and nothing else for now. Earthquake does a lot. Would a Life Orb get it the rest of the way? No. Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. Will Tyranitar KO us in return? Not with Rock Slide. Let's say it's max attack Rock Slide. Probably not. Oh, it already has moves. Superpower would be the one that I would be concerned about. Yeah, so Rock Slide doesn't even come close. It's a neutral hit because we're a ground type, but Superpower is a pretty much guaranteed OHKO. Unless we have some more defense investment. Not to, although the cool thing is we don't have to worry about weakness policy, and if we do whittle it down, we can come in and sweep with our secondary sweeper, which would be like Blastoise or something. So I'm not terribly concerned about Tyranitar. So we can go back to Battle Festival. So Azelf is actually really high, and Azelf I actually used to use back in the day, back in 2009. I used Azelf on my my nationals team, and yeah, Explosion was the choice. I don't the data here is messed up a little bit, but Explosion's not nearly as good as it used to be. It could still be worth going for. Azelf is an interesting choice. I don't have anything particularly for it, but I bet Foul Play is a one-hit KO if it's not Focus Sash. So I'm not super concerned. Like, worst case scenario, we could go for like a Tailwind Protect, like old school Tailwind Protect, and then if Murkrow goes down, then we bring in Blastoise and sweep them hard. If they don't, then we Foul Play it and then go from there, right? Heatran, there is no Air Balloon, so unless it can live with a Shuko, then we're really not concerned about this. And we also have Blastoise as a secondary sweeper, so not terribly concerned here. Arcanine, not concerned. Regirock, I mean, there is no weakness policy, which makes this a lot harder to use. Iron Defense or Curse plus like leftovers is what I'm assuming that it's running. That's running Rest, actually. So, I mean, it will take a hit. I'm not super concerned about Regirock. I mean, we can always circle back to it. Breloom is scary and is actually one that I'm considering to have on my team because it gets Spore, and then its ability is Technician, which can be used for both Mach Punch for a really quick, powerful hit. And if you don't know, Breloom's attack is the same as a Metagross's, if you can believe it. So Breloom packs a punch. So Technician, Mach Punch, and Technician Bullet Seed actually does huge damage. So this is something that I'm actually super interested in because we could go for like a Tailwind Spore or a Quash Spore, and then that would be pretty cool. And there's no Psychic Terrain, so it's great. So that's something I'm super considering, but it's on the watch list for me right now. Alakazam, without Psychic Terrain, I'm really not concerned about this too much. It's probably going to be running Focus Sash. It's going to do a lot of damage, but I'm really not concerned about this. Rotom Wash, Rotom is a little bit of an issue, particularly like the fire one I can hit with Rock Slide or Water Spout, but the water one is a little bit of a problem because we don't have particularly great damage into it, so that is something to watch for. Like, Breloom would be great for that, actually, because it would give us that grass typing. So, okay, something to look for. Scizor, we don't have a hard check for it. Bullet Punch might actually KO Mamoswine with the super effective, so that's something that we would definitely have to watch for. Having a good fire type might be the way to go on my team as well. So we can look into that. So Rotom, Wash, and Scizor are scary. Breloom, I actually didn't think I was talking about how I wanted to use it, not what I would do against it. Mach Punch, like Scizor, might be enough to KO Mamoswine. I'll have to do that calc here in a minute. Beyond that, we should be able to KO it with Icicle Spear. And if we're really concerned, my Murkrow will outspeed Breloom, so we could go for a Quash Icicle Spear as well, depending on what the partner Pokemon is. The same would go for Scizor. Ludicolo is a little bit of a problem. We can't EQ it. We would have to Icicle Spirit, and a neutral hit probably doesn't KO unless we get a lucky amount of hits. So a little bit scary for Ludicolo. And then Latias. Who learns Freeze Dry this gen? Articuno, Delibird, Glaceon, Glalie, Lapras. Technically Mamoswine, but that's not really what we're going for. Okay. Okay. So maybe like Mence could be kind of interesting. Like he could have dragon typing for like dragon types that would resist my... I mean, technically we have ice coverage for Latios, right? So like a flying type? Flying and fire, perhaps even? Like, how's Moltres' stats? Like Moltres, like I also want to make sure that I'm not just bringing type coverage, I'm bringing things that are useful for me. So I could go Flame Body, which is good. And it's actually got decent stats, decent defenses. Burning Jealousy is in the game, but we could go for something like Will-O-Wisp to have that utility. And then probably just Air Slash and Flamethrower or Heat Wave or something like that. Have some pretty decent power. Something else we could do. I am dying to use Typhlosion. So you could go like Flash Fire, switch into a fire attack, and then blast them with a Foul Play plus Eruption or something. I would very much like to use Typhlosion. That helps with a Scizor, but it really doesn't help with Ludicolo the way that Moltres would. Also, something to watch out for, like, what is Ludicolo's speed stat? I think it gets to, like, maybe 132? He's fairly slow, but with Swift Swim, 134. So, under Tailwind, we would need to make sure that something outspeeds 134, otherwise we'll have to quash it. So, ideally, we would resist, like, Scald or Hurricane, right? So like we can take a look at flying types. I mean, we already have a flying type with Murkrow, but having a good flying type like Dragonite, I do absolutely adore Dragonite. We wouldn't have access to dual Wing Beat, which would be a serious shame. Skydrop's no longer the game. That's one of my favorite moves that they removed. I used to go for Quash and then Skydrop somebody to stun lock them for 2 turns, so it was great. Yeah, I don't, as much as I want it, I don't think I can justify that. Maybe Scyther. Like Scyther, you don't have dual Wing Beat, but you have Aerial Ace, which is good. For Bug, you're probably stuck with U-turn, honestly. Fury Cutter. Do you want a different stat, like a different coverage move? I mean, Feint can always be nice, especially when facing, like... Yeah, Feint could be pretty good, actually. We could also have Quick Guard, which could be interesting. Okay, so we could go, like, Feint, Quick Guard, U-turn. Oh, that's not Quick Guard, that's Quick Attack. Quick Guard. Oh, but Eviolite's not in the game. Yeah, that's a little annoying. I'm not sure. Let's keep looking and we'll circle back. So like Rotom, Scizor, Ludicolo, Breloom. Infernape, not as worried about. Smeargle, definitely annoying, but not necessarily a problem. I mean, it could be a problem, like, because, like, my way around Trick Room, outside of having, like, a hard, check, would be, Quash, and the problem with Quash is that I can only Quash one of them, and if I Quash their Sweeper, then Smeargle gets a Spore off into my Sweeper, and if I Quash Smeargle, then their Sweeper gets to attack my Sweeper, so a little bit of a problem there. That would go the same for Parasect as well. So that is a scenario where Taunt would probably be a better choice. Maybe. Or like Taunt, Quash. Yeah, the problem is, like, Murkrow is a Pokemon that just... It's really hard to justify having Protect. Like, if I had a fast Fake-Out user, then we could kind of net neutral the turn, which might be the way to go. Like, fast, like Weavile, Ambipom, Infernape. Because, like, if we chose Infernape, then the only Pokemon that could effectively get a benefit from faking out my Murkrow and setting something up would be... And if they are faster, then we can do the play where we're like, okay, so we go for Tailwind and we go for Fake Out into your other Pokemon. So either you fake out our Infernape and we get our Tailwind off, or you fake out our Murkrow and we fake out your other Pokemon, net neutral. Or if we're faster, we can fake out their Fake Outer and do what we want, right? Or we can go for the net neutral, whatever we want to do, right? So Raichu would outspeed, which will get used. Ugly would outspeed, which probably won't get used, although it does have Defiant, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know that. Sneasel, probably not, as Weavile's in the game. Persian, probably not. Ambipom, maybe a little bit, and then Weavile will probably get used a little bit. Raichu is probably the most popular one that will get used here. But honestly, there's not a ton of Fake-Out users. And we can, yeah, so I think Infernape is pretty good, because Infernape will put pretty good pressure on most of the ones that are above him with close combat. Okay, so if we do this, if we have Infernape instead of Blastoise, then we would pretty much threaten all the other Fake-Out users except for Raichu, and Raichu would be heavily threatened by Mamoswine. So let's try that. We would probably run Flare Blitz, Close Combat, Fake Out, and Protect. And if we're running Flare Blitz, Focus Sash obviously doesn't make sense, plus we're running it on Murkrow, so maybe a Life Orb would make sense. And we're not running anything that this benefits from him, so we might as well run Blaze. And we'd probably run something like this. Okay, so we can do that for now. And that does help us against Regigigas as well. That's kind of nice. So let's take a quick look and reevaluate how things are looking. Helps our matchup against Tyranitar, which is good. We're still fine against Heatran. One thing that we do want to watch out for, we probably want to have at least one Pokemon that can freely stay in with Mamoswine while he's Earthquaking. So we have Murkrow. We would probably like one other one with like Levitate or something. Good against Heatran. We actually have two things that'll probably OHKO it. Close Combat with Life Orb and Earthquake. Fine against these. Close Combat into Regirock would do good damage, but we're a little bit weaker now against Regirock. Breloom, we have good damage with Flare Blitz and Icicle Spear, so we should be okay there. We just have to watch out for that Mach Punch, which we'll have to do the calc here in a second. Rotom Wash, we're still weak, but not quite as weak because Close Combat will do pretty decent damage. Scizor, we're much better against. With the Flare Blitz, definitely OHKOing Scizor. Ludicolo, we need help with. Hitmontop is a little scary because I doubt we KO it with Earthquake, and also Wide Guard. Wide Guard. That is the first Wide Guard up here, I believe. Yeah, so Hitmontop with Wide Guard, definitely something to watch for. Also, the mirror match with an opposing Infernape could be a little scary, but we can just protect Tailwind, or we can just double protect and then Tailwind EQ. And if they're running Flare Blitz, they probably aren't running Focus Sash, right? So we should be fine there. Rain. To be honest, I'm a lot more worried about Pelipper than Politoed, but yeah, we need something for Ludicolo for sure. With Infernape, this actually does help us quite a bit against Smeargle because we can very easily guarantee the Fake Out. I guess the only thing then would be having a Taunt user. So we can actually look at Taunt users. Maybe something that's flying would be kind of nice. We'll just like look at highest base stat totals just as a easier way to go. I actually used Crobat in my playthrough through the game, and I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think it's the right choice for this team, but I actually really like it. It has Inner Focus, and it's really quick. Surprisingly good bulk, actually. The typing's kind of nice. I was quite surprised with it. Gyarados is an interesting option. Like, obviously, you're double weak to electric, but you have Intimidate, and you have that flying typing. The only problem is you don't have a good flying type move. Like, your only flying type move is Bounce, and you don't have access to Max Airstream anymore. So, yeah, for that reason, we are looking for a flying type. We're looking for Taunt. Like, we can look at flying types specifically and see what they've got. I do like Gliscor. We already have a ground type, though. Don't necessarily know that we need another one. Priority Taunt on Murkrow is very tempting, but I feel like we really need to protect. So probably not Taunt Flying, but we can find a good Taunt user for sure. We already have a Dark type, so we don't want that necessarily. We do want to spread our types out a little bit. I do like Nidoking, but not for Taunt. Not Houndoom. The base stats totals are starting to get a little lower than I'm wanting to go for here. Crawdon, I do like. Crawdon, its speed is low, but it has adaptability, giving it really devastating water and dark type attacks. There's really not a whole lot of great options, is there? Okay, maybe we won't run Taunt. I'm not seeing a whole lot of Pokemon that I would want on the team, so we can maybe think something else up. Plus, when you're running Taunt, you also have to worry about the Mental Herb that could be on your opposing Pokemon, so... so we have Snorlax. Not super concerned about Snorlax. He requires setup, and 2 Earthquakes probably will get him. Close Combat from Infernape will probably get him, and if he goes for a Belly Drum or something, or if he goes for a Curse, our Foul Play will be doing more damage anyways. So not super worried about that. We can also Quash if they set up Trick Room. Abomasnow, Azumarill. Azumarill with Aqua Jet, similar to the other ones, might be able to KO our Mamoswine. So we definitely want to watch out for that. But I mean, Azumarill, Water Fairy, we don't have the greatest damage into. I mean, the only problem is we did just put Infernape on here with the fighting type, so do we really want Breloom as well? Or would we rather have a different fake out user and run Breloom instead? Mamoswine is here. They're running Ice Shard, Icicle Crash, Earthquake. So no one's really, like, only 6% are running Rock Slide. I think that's a mistake. I think Rock Slide is the play. And Tailwind, Foul Play, Taunt. Nobody's running Quash either, which I think is definitely a mistake. That's definitely going under the radar. And most people are running with Garchomp and Breloom and Infernape. Interesting. Typhlosion, Blastoise, sure. Okay. I really do like the idea of running Breloom with it. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Breloom. With Technician, I'm not sure what item yet. And we'll run Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, Spore, Protect. I think that gives us really good versatility. We do want to Fake Out user still, though. I think Fake Out does definitely give us a lot of value. So Blastoise is definitely tempting. I mean, technically Raichu is kind of an interesting option too. So if we're running Breloom, I mean, I do think Blastoise has some value for us. Would we prefer, like, before we were running Blastoise with Shell Smash, like, maybe we should run Ice Beam? I mean, we already have ice coverage. It's Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, Haze. What would we use Haze for? Speed drops, perhaps? It wouldn't have priority. Iron Defense on Tyranitar. Curse Iron Defense on Regirock, maybe. No, I don't think we need Haze. Yawn. I do like Life too, but not for this team. This is a fairly offensive team that I'm building here. I guess the question is, would I get the opportunity to use it and not take so much damage that we can't sweep? That we can still sweep with the Water Spout? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's have it on the team for now. I mean, Breloom definitely helps a lot. I feel like we're still missing that flying type. Like, that flying type coverage, I think, is going to be really valuable here. Yeah, it's just a shame that Dragonite doesn't have a better flying type move. Or Gyarados, for that matter. We could go Zapdos. I think Zapdos' best flying type move is Air Cutter, though. He doesn't even learn Air Cutter in this gen. Ooh. Only physical. That's brutal. Okay, not Zapdos. Not what we're looking for. I mean, Moltres does get Air Slash. Heat Wave. Then, of course, there is Charizard. I think I like Moltres better. It has higher stats, has the more bulk to it. Actually has more power, too. Charizard's just really good with the sun. What about Yanmega? I always have wanted to use Yanmega. Like, speed boost, sure, fresh, sure, but tinted lens is interesting, right? Because it guarantees a neutral hit. And got pretty decent power. And without unnecessary investment, without having to change our nature, we can outspeed Ludicolo under Rain with a Tailwind. And I feel pretty confident that Bug Buzz would KO, and then we would have Air Slash as well. And then what would we want for our last one, hypothetically? Not Swords Dance, because we're going special. Hypnosis if we're feeling cheeky. String Shot if we're feeling cheeky. You learn Shadow Ball, Psychic, Giga Drain. Learns Detect, so I could use that instead of Protect, which is kind of nice. Ancient Power, maybe? I'm not sure. I think Yanmega is kind of an interesting option, though. We would probably use Mamoswine and Blastoise as like the wrecking ball. Like, it's carving a path, and then you pick up something like Yanmega that kind of cleans up, or Breloom that cleans up. Okay, so let's say we do this. We have two Pokemon that we can freely EQ with. We have Spore, we got Water Spout, potentially Fake Out, Shell Smash even. Like, we can have some like redirection maybe. There's not a ton of great redirection. Pachirisu is kind of interesting though. Like, if we run Pachirisu with Volt Absorb, it gives us a really easy switch in from Murkrow, Blastoise, or Yanmega. And you could go like Super Fang, Nuzzle, Follow Me, Protect, and probably want I guess Jolly, I guess, because you're not running any special moves, and run like this. Probably Citrus Berry, or maybe Shuka. I mean, we can give this a try. How do we feel about it? I actually feel pretty good against these. I feel pretty good with these three. These three are definitely pretty iffy for me. So we can hold this as one rendition, but let's go ahead and delete these for now and take a look at what else we could do. So let's say we have those three. A lot of people are running Infernape and Breloom. Well, not necessarily together. Like, we can take a look at Breloom's stats. More people are running Arcanine with Breloom, and I do like Arcanine. There's also Heatran. I'm not a huge fan of Heatran. I'd rather run Arcanine myself. Arcanine is definitely a bit bulkier, which might not be what we're going for. I mean, we could run like an offensive Arcanine though. We already have a lot of physical attackers though. Let's take a look at fire types. Entei is a very compelling choice. Is on the physical side, but very compelling. I do kind of like the idea of Moltres. And obviously Typhlosion is very compelling. I would very much like to use Typhlosion. When would we use Typhlosion over Mamoswine, though, is the only problem. Like, what I'm seeing here is a lot of resistance to fire. Like, there's a couple of them that are weak to it, but like with Rain Up, Dragon typing, Fire typing, Dragon typing again, you know. I don't think Typhlosion is the play as much as I want to use it. It just doesn't really look like the play. Rotom Heat is an interesting one. Like, I'm really not a fan of Rotom being locked into like Overheat as their only fire type move. But having Levitate with Fire and Electric is pretty compelling. You know what? Let's run that calc. Let's see how much a Mach Punch into Mamoswine does from a max attack Breloom. Okay. How does it know? Mamoswine. Oops. Caps lock. Okay, so right now we have nothing in HP or defense. Let's close these. These are a little annoying, and we'll go Adamant Breloom with Mach Punch. Now, more than likely, it would be a Jolly Breloom, but just for the sake of... See? So Mach Punch into Mamoswine. No other modifiers, right? Oh, Technician. Technician. We do live. It does a ton of damage, but we do technically live. And we do have the option to quash an Icicle Spear, which I would assume Icicle Spear will KO. And we would be Adamant, max attack. Minimum 2 hits is pretty dang close. It can OHKO. It's a lower chance. If we have any item, like if we have Expert Belt, for instance, guaranteed OHKO. If we have Life Orb, guaranteed OHKO. Not a guaranteed OHKO if we go for Soft Sand, but okay. That makes me feel better for the most part. We do have to worry about Scizor. Scizor would do the same amount of damage, and we wouldn't be able to necessarily OHKO it in return. So we'd probably have to eat a Bullet Punch and go for an EQ, and then quash it the next turn and EQ to knock it out. Rotom, we do have Breloom. Breloom is going to help with a large number of these Pokemon, which is great. Between Spore, Bullet Punch, or Bullet Seed, and Mach Punch has pretty good value here. We do need some fire coverage, and we need something that can actually KO Ludicolo. Like maybe poison. Maybe we've been steering too hard into the flying area, and we need a poison type. Like what poison types do we have? Like out of curiosity, I'm just gonna run Moltres Air Slash. I don't think it KOs into Ludicolo. Ludicolo. And yeah, this is going on for a very long time, so hopefully this isn't terribly boring. This is just how I team build. So we'll go, let's assume max special attack, Air Slash, full offense, Moltres, modest, Air Slash into Ludicolo. Actually does a lot of damage. Like if they're max speed, which I would assume they probably, they might not. They might not, actually. But they might. I wouldn't, but they might. We would want an item that would boost her damage, probably a Life Orb, or maybe Expert Belt or something, I'm not sure. Let's put it on there. For some reason I keep putting Caps Lock on, and it does get Flame Body, which is pretty cool. So potentially if we have like a Mach Punch or a Bullet Punch or something coming towards Mamoswine, and we don't want to take it, we could switch into Moltres, get that Flame Body chance, and then go for like Heat Wave or Air Slash to KO them. Beyond those two moves, I'm not really sure what I go for. It learns Ancient Power, Will-O-Wisp. Does it learn Taunt? I don't think so. I don't remember it on the list. Safeguard, I guess. Actually, that could be kind of interesting. Sunny Day could be cool too, like as an anti-rain measure, right? Like I could go for Tailwind and then Sunny Day with Moltres. That would be pretty cool. How much would Oh, we actually have Ludicolo up. Okay, so how much would like Scald do? Like assuming it's, let's assume it's modest with Life Orb, maybe. So Life Orb, modest, Scald in the sun. Does a lot, but would we want to be max? I mean, we would have to be faster, right? So we would have to be that, and then this with like an expert belt or something. How much would Heat Wave do in the sun to Ludicolo? I mean, it's a neutral hit. Sun boosted? Not enough. I mean, maybe with a Foul Play though, right? Foul Play might be enough to follow up. That would be turn 2 though. And obviously we wouldn't choose to run this into Rain necessarily, would we? Sunny Day is an interesting idea. I'm not sure about it though. Let's take a look at some other Pokemon that are available. I do like the idea of running Moltres though. Like Moltres is one that is really far off the radar for most people. And that is right up my alley. Okay. So I would like a little bit better answer to Rain and to Sun for that matter. Maybe Lumberry. Like if we run, or maybe not even Lumberry, like as long as we can OHKO, if we can OHKO Venusaur with Air Slash, then as long as Moltres outspeeds Venusaur, which, I mean, we would have to sacrifice even more bulk, and we might have to sacrifice our nature to do that, which would be not so good. What's Venusaur's speed? Yeah, I guess a 145, that's what I thought. So in order to outspeed it with Moltres, we would have to do that. I really don't want to. Let's take a look. Let's go back to the damage calculator. I just got back from it, but let's go back. Because if we were Lumberry, then we could just do that and we could be a bulkier Moltres, maybe? We would still be eating an Eruption potentially, though. Venusaur. Yeah, and we don't want to eat an Eruption on our Murkrow. I mean, we have the Sash, but not super ideal. So we'll go Nature, Modest, Air Slash. I mean, Heat Wave in their Sun surely KOs, right? I would be shocked. Yeah, easy. Like Air Slash, not so much, but Heat Wave in the Sun particularly is definitely guaranteed. Okay, what if we went, well, we can't go like, there's so many items that we would like to go here, right? Like if we want Moltres more as a Sun counter, we can do that. Like maybe we do want a Poison type, but Moltres can be useful. And we can Quash, right? So we could go for like Quash Sunny Day into like Tailwind, or, you know, Air Slash, Heat Wave or something. So I'm thinking I think Lumberry is a very cool option. because I don't think I want to run Lum on this thing. I think I do want to go with the Life Orb and get as much damage out as possible on him. And then I'm not sure what I want on Breloom just yet. We'll play it by ear, but I think Lumberry Moltres is pretty sick. And honestly, I mean, the Lumberry is better because we can block Paralysis as well, so we'll see if we need it for something else, but with Sunny Day and Protect is what I'm thinking. And then probably lose the speed, unless there's, we can take a quick look at some speed tiers and determine if we want any speed. But in the meantime, I think getting some sort of bulk on this thing would be ideal. Maybe not this, but something kind of like that. So, like, if we're going up against Venusaur, we would want plenty of power so we can OHKO. We don't necessarily need this much power, though. But I think we probably would go like this just for now. So we do have that sweeping power if we want it, but we also, you know, have the Sunny Day to counter that. We have Lumberry, and we have great coverage moves to go against a few Pokemon in the meta. Okay. And Quash Sunny Day is pretty cool. So this is the VGC ladder again. We should be wrapping up soon, so hopefully this hasn't been too boring. So what am I looking for now? We still don't have a Fake Out user since we dropped Blastoise. So we can take another look at the Fake Out users. We've done this a couple times already. I still think we do want one. Raichu could be kind of compelling now, because we do have 2 electric type weaknesses, and Raichu could give us Fake Out, Lightning Rod, plus maybe Nuzzle and things like that. We do have Breloom, so it would be kind of competing with Breloom for Nuzzle pressure. So keep this one in mind. Blastoise is still an option, but probably not as much, because it would clash a bit with Moltres. We could, but I'm not sure we want that. Probably not Ambipom, I would think. To be honest, I do like Dugong, but no. Does not fit this team whatsoever. Metacham is kind of interesting, but we already do have that fighting type. So, yeah, I mean, if we have it, like, what happens if we don't have it, I guess, right? I mean, let's say, like, what do we need Fake Out for? Like, I think the main thing that I was afraid of with Fake Out is there are 2 scenarios for Fake Out, right? So the first one was I was concerned about my matchup into, say, Weezing and Regigigas. But if we're running max speed Murkrow with Focus Sash, there's no way for Regigigas to knock us out or reduce our speed, allowing Weezing to catch up. So unless it's Choice Scarf Weezing, then we're going to be able to get the Tailwind up, and then we can protect our other Pokemon. If Murkrow goes down, we get a free switch in, and we should be able to sweep from there. And yeah, so I think we're okay against Weezing Regigigas, which leaves opposing Fake Out, plus something like Trick Room, Tailwind, or Boosting, which we do have Quash. So I think I might be okay not running Fake Out for now, and we can see how it goes. Okay, so we have Fire Grass. We could use a Water type to round out our core, maybe defensively. I mean, Breloom isn't going to be the bulkiest thing in the world, but could be nice. We also have Dark Fighting, so having a Psychic type could be kind of interesting. So we can just take a quick look at some Psychic types and Water types and see if any of them jump out at me as being overly useful. I am a big fan of Latias, probably not what we're looking for, but I really do like Latias. Fun fact, in my first ever regional back in 2009, I brought Claydol to my regional. I was using it to explode. So it's kind of funny. I ended up not winning that one. I ended up getting walled by... I faced a guy, I think his name was Cade, and he ran Walrein and Abomasnow with double Blizzard, and then I think he had like Regirock in the back, and we had both Ludicolo and Leafeon in the back of our team, but back then you didn't get to see their team before you chose your Pokemon, so you just randomly chose 4 and then went in blind, and it was best of 1. So I had 2 answers to Regirock, but I didn't bring them in the match, and I lost because I couldn't do any damage to Regirock. But I used Claydol and I exploded and did a lot of damage to his lead, and that was fun. But not going to be what we're looking for here, although it would give us another Levitate, which would be kind of fun. We could go Azelf too. Azelf is just cemented in my heart as a true exploder. None of these are really jumping out at me. We don't really need it, I don't think. We can, I mean, we can take a quick look at like our defenses. Like we have 2 water weaknesses and 1 switch, which is Breloom, which is pretty squishy, not the best switch in. We do have 2 weaknesses to electric with Mamoswine as the only switch, which is probably going to be used as a, I mean, we have Breloom, which is technically a switch. Yeah. Ice type, we have 2 weaknesses, no switches. Rock, we have 2 weaknesses, no switches. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't even consider Breloom. Like, this is a very offensive team. As far as coverage goes, I think we're pretty good. Like, how are we doing on the threats? I mean, maybe a little bit worried about redirection. I think we've more or less covered status for the most part. I think we should be okay against most status users we're going to come in contact with. The only one being, like, Smeargle could be kind of terrifying with Focus Sash and Fake Out, Follow Me, Spore. So that's a little scary, but... What about Cresselia? What is my plan to take down Cresselia? Because, I mean, we could have a taunt user for sure. You know what, actually, before we do that, like, maybe if we have flying coverage with Moltres, so maybe Gyarados is the right call, allowing us another Pokemon that we can EQ with. If we did that, we would want a Lightning Rod, though. So, I mean, there's Manectric, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Will it be the right choice for this? Probably not. Rhydon, another one of my favorite Pokemon to use. Without Eviolite, not nearly as good. We would probably choose Rhyperior over it, unfortunately. Raichu is an option for sure. Marowak, probably not for this team. Pikachu, with the Light Ball, would give us a Fake Out user and would do a ton of damage and have a Lightning Rod. Honestly, for some reason, this is actually seeming like a good idea. Hold on, like, do we have something we could boost? Like, what's that? No, what's it called? Storm Drain. Like, Luminion is actually decently fast. I've never used Luminion. Its stats look pretty horrible, so probably not. Okay, and I don't think Absorb Bulb is in this game, right? Absorb Bulb, oh, that's an item. Like, if we go over to this, Absorb Bulb, nope, not in the game. So not really a way to boost with Surf, which would be a little unfortunate. We could just do damage with it. We can have a Water Absorb user, or Dry Skin. Toxicroak, Parasect, Jinx. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Jinx is kind of cool, I suppose, but not really for this team. Honestly, Pikachu is kind of intriguing to me, and the idea of leading Pikachu Murkrow is really funny to me. Is there any way to make Manectric work? I just don't think he does enough damage. You know, I mean, if we catch a Lightning Rod boost, then we could actually do some work. We could discharge with Mamoswine, but Mamoswine can't Earthquake with us like he could with something like Zapdos. Gets Flamethrower, gets Snarl. So we could build it maybe... Yeah, but that's not really what we're going for, is it? I think Pikachu would actually be the better choice, oddly enough. Like, super squishy. But with Light Ball, you can do a lot of damage. With Light Ball, you can do a lot of damage. Like, if you go Modest, which when running Tailwind, we can go Modest, and that's going to put us up to 224 special attack. And you get coverage like Thunderbolt, Grass Knot, Surf. You get Fake Out. Do you learn anything else of note? You can Discharge, but again, you can't use it with Mammoth. Like, Mammoth can't EQ with you, but yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the only coverage moves you get. Disarming Voice isn't really going to count. So yeah. You can do a lot of damage with it, but obviously you're going to die to like anything on this thing. The Lightning Rod is kind of compelling. I think, Seeking from a defensive perspective is kind of interesting, right? Because it kind of rounds out our defensive core here, and also gives us that Lightning Rod, which makes it really difficult to lead Electric types into our Moltres and a Murkrow Pokemon. Not to mention our Mamoswine is here, right? Does Seeking learn Taunt? No. Learns Haze, not terribly useful for us. Horn Drill, yeah. So maybe not. Why were we even looking into... I guess we were looking for Gyarados, right? I mean, if we're doing it in the context of having Gyarados on the team, maybe Raichu makes a little bit more sense. And then it's a question of, would it make more sense to run Pikachu or Raichu? Pikachu kind of does a lot more damage, but is a lot more squishy, whereas Raichu is a lot more support-oriented. Something we could do would be kind of cool is we go Pikachu, and if they lead Electric and we have like Gyarados, then we could Fake Out into their non-Electric type user and then go for a Dragon Dance with Gyarados, and that could be kind of cool. We could also choose if we want to go Intimidate or Moxie. So we would be running Waterfall for sure, and then we could have a coverage move, and then maybe... I mean, we would have to choose Dragon Dance or Taunt, though, is the thing. Yeah. I do like having Moltres, though. I think that is a good choice. I mean, you can take a quick look at Water type. I mean, we need something for Cresselia. We can look at Bug types. Yeah, Omega is the highest base stat total Bug type Pokemon. You have Heracross here. I do like Heracross. Most of these are going to be hitting on the physical side. I highly doubt Omega does enough damage. Like, even with Life Orb, right? And if it did, then we'd be stuck with that same 3 flying type Pokemon, which is a little dangerous. Like attack, we have Scizor, Armaldo at 125, not fast enough to benefit from Tailwind. You have Scyther at 110, doing a lot of damage, but just with the typing, it's not really the best. We have Shidinja. Shidinja is always an option. Special attack side, Yanmega, and then, I mean, I like Masquerain, but it's not going to cut it here. What else? I mean, we can go Ghost, I guess. Ghost can hit. What are the best Ghost types? Dusknoir with 100 base stat. Gengar is strong, I suppose. Not interested in that. Not a whole lot. I mean, we can look at the Taunt users again, because I do think Taunt is really what we need to stop Cresselia. I mean, technically, like, we don't necessarily have to stop it, but it would be nice to have the option to if we wanted to. I'm just going to run that calc real quick. What was it? Yanmega. with 252 Modest, and let's put a Life Orb on it because I think we'll need it. Life Orb, Bug Buzz. How much does it do? Oh my goodness, and that's no investment. Yeah, Cresselia is a monster. I mean, we could follow up and KO it, but... And we could always Spore it with Breloom. But that's a short-term solution, not a total solution. But, I mean, short-term's better than nothing. Let's look at the taunt users real quick. We don't want Tyranitar. Gyarados is interesting, but I feel like we would definitely need a Lightning Rod if we did that, which I probably don't want to do. Honestly, I kind of like Aggron, but I'd probably want to run a Soul Vest with it. Like, Aggron is kind of cool with Rock Head and Head Smash, which you do get still, which is great. You don't learn Body Press anymore, though, because that's a TR. There are only 2 Pokemon that learn it by level up now, which would be Regigigas and Probopass, which neither of them will really get much use out of it, unfortunately. I mean, you could run like that and Iron Head with Taunt, Protect, and I mean, you have massive defense. This could be kind of like a Trick Room answer of sorts, maybe? I mean, you could do some pretty decent damage with a Head Smash. Probably not, though. Probably not. Infernape definitely learns it. I like Gliscor, but not gonna work. Yeah, I'm just really not seeing anything, so I think I'm just gonna ignore Taunt. We have Quash, and that's gonna have to be enough. I mean, what do we have damage-wise? I mean, we can Spore, obviously. Sunny Day can boost damage for Moltres. Okay, so... I mean, Mamoswine alone has massive coverage against most of the format, right? Moltres and Breloom kind of help fill in the gaps and offer some nice utility against weather and slowing people down with Spore. What do we have for, like, Gyarados and Suicune? Like, Gyarados we have not too good. We have, like, Rock Slide and Foul Play, maybe? So having something for Gyarados could be good. Mence, we have Ice. And Foul Play will do a decent amount to it. Lucario. Lucario does seem to be running Follow Me a little bit, so that's kind of cool. Okay. Blastoise. Yeah. What about like Raichu and Pachirisu? Like, I do think these are going to be very prevalent. And Entei as well with Sacred Fire, definitely something to watch out for. Because that's going to do huge damage to these two, right? So Raichu, Pachirisu. Like, not only do they threaten electric type damage, but also the spreading of paralysis and the redirection can be kind of terrifying. I mean, Mamoswine just kind of dumpsters them though, doesn't he? Typhlosion, like, opposing, like, Tailwind with Typhlosion can be kind of scary, but again, we can just Quash, which is the beauty of Murkrow is Quash. Honestly, offensively, I'm feeling okay. I'm thinking like a water type would be nice because there are quite a few fire types, and we have 2 fire type weaknesses. So a water type, just to round out this core, would be kind of nice. And then another, like, resistance to electric or something would be kind of nice, or rock. Probably rock. So rock is only resisted by, like, what, ground and steel. So maybe we pick up a steel type. What steel types are available? Metagross. I don't think I want Metagross on the team. Magnezone. I mean, we could go Aggron. Aggron is one of the options. What would Aggron hit? Like rock, steel? I mean, Aggron would be pretty good against a decent number of Pokemon. Like, if they're only running Iron Defense, Rock Slide, Rest, Sleep Talker, Curse, or whatever, like, they're not going to be able to do anything to Aggron. Scizor, they're not seeming to run Superpower right now, so Aggron will have a field day with a lot of these Pokemon. And even something like Infernape, like, you're going for close combat, is that going to even KO? Aggron's pretty bulky. It probably would. But, like, just because a Pokemon's slow doesn't mean it can't work on this team, specifically because of Murkrow and Quash. So actually, now that I think about it, having something slow as a last-ditch effort against Trick Room, in case, like, we don't have Quash as an answer, could be pretty nice. So I'm not going to rule out Aggron. Not that it's necessarily the best choice, but I'm not going to rule it out. Magnezone. I mean, we do have plenty of switches for Magnezone for ground. So, not the worst choice in the world. And this is a little too low. So there's not a lot of viable steel types to pick from here. Personally, I'm kind of leaning between these two, although Metagross does have a place potentially because it's Psychic Steel, which would pair nicely with these two already. Metagross is surprisingly low on this list. It's only at 5%. Doesn't have access to Iron Head or Psycho Cut anymore, so you have to run Zen Headbutt or Meteor Mash. That's probably why. No Policy, no Dynamax. It's still a really good Mon, though. Staraptor is actually way higher than I thought it would be. Final Gambit, yeah. Has the highest HP of the Final Gambit users. Probably running with Choice Scarf. Okay, that's something to watch out for sure. What Trick Room sweepers do I have to worry about, really? Like, I really don't see a lot of Trick Room sweepers. Like, Snorlax, sure, after, like, a Belly Drum. But I'm not really concerned about that because we have Quash and we have spread damage. So unless they have Wide Guard. Hariyama is a Trick Room sweeper. Gastrodon, probably a Trick Room sweeper. I don't know what's going on there, but... and we got to wrap this up because we actually need to build the team. I've been wanting to build a team all weekend. It's going to be taking me... I probably won't be able to build any of it today because I still have to get what I need to actually do the breeding, all the items, and I need to get the Dittos that actually have decent IVs, so it speeds the process up considerably. But we'll see what we can do. Rhyperior, you're definitely one to watch out for. Crawdon is at over 2%. Yeah, knock off Aqua Jet Cramhammer. Not a whole lot of Trick Room sweepers. It seems like Trick Room isn't terribly... Like, they're using it, but not hard Trick Room. It's like maybe a counter Trick Room or Trick Room as opposed to opposing Tailwind. So... Let's look at water types real fast. Okay, water types. We probably want to be on the special side more than likely, right? And that's a little too low. I would really like to use Feraligatr. Like Feraligatr with Sheer Force Life Orb. Not on this team though. Honestly, as water types go, Gyarados, Melodic, Blastoise are probably my best choices. Rotom Wash a little bit. It gives us that Levitate, which is kind of nice. I don't like Rotom, but we could go for like Earthquake Discharge stuff, like maybe a Specs. Rotom could be kind of nice. We would only have one that we could discharge with, but it's kind of okay because we would have other options. We would have like Thunderbolt. Actually, probably Hydro Pump Thunderbolt, right? I'm a little OCD about my move order. Discharge, Volt Switch. I mean, it would give us pretty good cleave damage under Tailwind, which could be kind of nice. Or like anti-hard Trick Room, or EQ or Rock Slide plus Discharge would be pretty good damage as well. The hardest part is always the last couple of slots, right? Oh. Oh. Honestly, Gyarados and like Raichu kind of feel like my best choice, either that or Blastoise. What about Lapras? I mean, obviously you don't have Weakness Policy and you don't have G-Max, but you still have Freeze Dry, which is kind of compelling. Helping Hand. Azumarill is good. How good is Azumarill? It's okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I mean, we don't have to have water. We could go Dragon for a fire resistance, right? So viable dragons start probably more like here and up. I mean, you could go Cloud9 Altaria, I guess. But, not a whole lot of dragons, really. Like Flygon, Kingdra, Salamence, Latios, Garchomp, Dragonite, which Dragonite being definitely my favorite of the available. If I was running Dragonite in this gen, I would really want to run it with Rain, though, is the thing. Garchomp, you already have the Earthquake user. Latios, I would prefer to Latios. Aesthetically, at least, Latios might fit better into this team. as it has a bit more offense. It also has the Psychic typing, which could be nice to finish out that core. Something else we can do. Kingdra learns Focus Energy, right? Yes, it does. So we could go, does it learn Scald? Yeah. We could go like Draco Meteor, Scald, or Muddy Water. Probably Muddy Water. With Focus Energy, Protect, and we would want Scope Lens. And the Sniper ability. So this could be kind of fun, because we could go for like Tailwind and Focus Energy, or we could go for like Fake Out Focus Energy, and then Kingdra would just do a ton of damage. And with Scope Lens and Focus Energy giving you 2 additional critical hit ratio, you will be at +3 crit, meaning you have guaranteed critical strike chance, meaning the special attack drops from Draco Meteor would not count towards your damage. And your Sniper would be multiplying your damage considerably, and then you just have this damage. So that's actually kind of a cool idea, and that's a double resistance. Let's go with that. Okay, so Kingdra, what do we want for our last? We were wanting Steel because of what? Rock? I mean, we could have another ground type. Nidoking would be cool. I mean, the biggest problem we have right now is that we're like all around the same speed tier, but with Tailwind and Quash and some of the utility we have, that might be okay, but it's a little bit scary. We could also pick up something like Marowak, maybe. I mean, the poison coverage and the ground coverage is kind of cool with Nidoking. And also, we would probably be running Ice Beam on it, which could be really clutch. I mean, it's kind of impeding on Mamoswine, though, right? Yeah, probably not ground. I mean, do we need a rock type switch? There's just not a whole lot of options. I mean, we could just go Aggron. I mean, with Sunny Day, we could reduce Water's effectiveness and give Aggron some room to breathe. I mean, he would do a ton of damage. I mean, I'm not super excited about going for Rock Heads with 80% accuracy, but it's a lot of damage. And if we're worried about our special defense, we could, you know, invest in special defense. But with Quash, like Quash Head Smash, and we could go like Min Speed. I don't know what item would go, but like Head Smash, nope, not Headbutt, Head Smash, Iron Head, Taunt maybe, or do we want something else? Curse? Could be interesting. Roar? You know what, I kind of forgot about Roar, to be honest with you. Roar would be kind of compelling. Maybe, would we want Curse or Roar? I mean, we already have Kingdra, which is going to be looking to boost. And we are a relatively hyper-offensive team, so I think we'll go Roar. Just to give us that option to, you know, knock that off. And we could go, like, we could go a defensive item like Citrus or Shuka or Chople. Or we could go an offensive item like Hardstone, get our head smash damage up. Or we could go bulkier and we could go Curse with lefties and just boost our special defense. I mean, that would give us a different kind of answer against into Trick Room, right? I mean, even at 144 attack, Head Smash is going to hit like a truck. And after a curse, you're going to be ending lives. And if they're physical and you get a couple curses off with leftovers, you're going to be really hard to deal with. What would we want for Breloom then? Like, we would probably want max speed, I would think, right? I mean, we can do a quick calc, like how much Bullet Seed does to, like, maybe Tyranitar? Mach Punch or Bullet Seed into the Tyranitar. So Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, and we'll try all of them, like 2 and up, 2 hits. Let's try Adamant into max HP Tyranitar. How much are we doing? So Mach Punch does a ton of damage. Not Oko, but a lot of damage. And Bullet Seed does good damage, but it looks like we would need all 5 hits in order to Oko. Yeah, and that's just barely. I think that max speed is worth it though, because it allows us a much better matchup into Trick Room, guaranteeing that we outspeed everything below here, right? Like the faster we are, the better it is that we can go for Spores and not have to rely on Quash, and allow us to put on pressure with something like Curse or with Focus Energy, or just going for sweep damage with, you know, Icicle Spear, Rock Slide, Heat Wave, or whatever we want to do. I think that makes sense. What do we want for item though? Expert Belt? Maybe? Like, if we run Expert Belt with Adamant, can we KO with Mach Punch? I mean, there's pretty much a chance. There's pretty much a chance. Not quite though. But with Expert Belt, 4 hits should Oko? Yeah. And I think we do want Life Orb on Mamoswine because that's really the hard sweeper. We really want that guaranteed bonus damage on it. Whereas Expert Belt is a little bit more specific. yeah, I think Expert Belt's probably one I want to do. The only question is, do I want to run Adamant or not? I think I would want to start here. Like, I think we're going to be demoing this on Showdown first to give it a try and see how it feels. So I feel fairly good about this. I think that's where we're going to end up. So this video was super long, and I did not realize how long this was going to be. But hopefully, for those of you that might have made it this far, I hope this was entertaining, and I hope that this helped you or entertained you in some way. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more like this. And stay tuned, as I will be making some videos trying this out, as well as building it in game and then using it on the ladder. I will see you in the next one.